It's time for another amazing panel. Who's ready? We're going to hear you nice and loud. It is my great pleasure to introduce to you a wonderful man, Mr. John Lancie. Please help me welcome him to the stage.
Thank you. You're welcome. I'm going to answer all the questions you can possibly give me, so make sure that you start thinking of these questions now, get into position, and we're going to fire them back and forth. I'm going to tell you what I've been doing of late. Starting about this time last year, I sailed my boat from California to Tahiti. And I'm going back in May to pick it up and sail it back here. Let's see, recently I shot a Mentalist. I don't know if any of you watch that show. A movie called Visions, a little horror movie. And I have to say, this is the biggest mashup of media that I have seen ever. I mean, all of the different costumes are just simply terrific. So, who wants to go with their first question? Yes, go, shoot.
I am correct that you were the voice for, what's Quantum Conundrum, right?
Yes, I was the voice for Quantum Conundrum.
What was it like to be the only voice actor for that game?
Really boring. It's really boring to do some of those things because you end up saying the same thing like 15 different times, 15 different ways, and you go, it's great to be here. 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 And you just do it over and over again. And it goes on for 3 or 4 days like that. So the way in which I around 1 o'clock, I always think to myself, I'm going to have a big bourbon at around 4. Okay, next. Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you. What you did today was truly legend-like. And just like your character Bartok, you got the character, well, Richard Dean Anderson, like his character Legend, you got him into just, well, go for it.
Okay,
go with
thanks.
me.
How many of you saw Legend? Any of you? Legend, yeah, I know. Just a few of you. Legend was a show that Ricky Dean Anderson and I did. Richard Dean Anderson. It was sort of one of the first steampunk shows that we did. I played, for those of you who are in a well-educated part of the country, I played Nikola Tesla. I've said that before, and it's just going like this, okay? And so it was really a wonderful show, and one in which I thoroughly enjoyed. And we only did 13 episodes, but it was really great to see Rick of late. So, yes.
So shortly after watching the first episode of season 2 of My Little Pony, I came across
what show?
Some show.
My Little something?
Yeah, Friendship
okay.
is Magic, or something like that, I guess.
Yeah.
I came across the documentary, the Brony Documentary, and I was really surprised to see what a major role you played in that. I was wondering what your personal motivations were for participating in it to such a large extent.
Well, how many of you have seen that documentary, by the way? Okay, you can see it on Netflix. I'll tell you, I'll use this to give you a little bit of insight into doing it. I got a call from my agent saying, you have an offer to voice a cartoon called... And that's pretty much how it went into my ear, okay? And so I asked him the 3 questions that actors always ask. I need to see the script. When? How much? Okay? Legitimate questions. They sent me the script immediately. I went, oh, and I only read maybe about 3 pages of the script. I went, oh, this is really well written. And yes, I went to the studio. I worked that night maybe for a couple of hours on it. I went to the studio, knocked it off in a couple of hours, never to be thought of again. Because voiceovers are that way. That's about as much time, 4 hours, let's say, of your life that you put into something, and it's just not enough to really grab hold of it. About 3 months later, I was down in my office, and I turned on my computer, and in my inbox on my mail, there were maybe 200 or 300 emails, and I was like, God, I've been spammed. And I read, MLP, what is it? So I went, oh, My Little Pony. So I called up to my wife and I said, what do you know about My Little Pony? And she said, well, it's a cartoon that you voiced about 3 months ago, and it's a cartoon for little girls. And I said, well, these are not little girls that are writing me. And that night, a friend of mine came over to the house to have dinner, and I told him this story, and we were sort of like, and he said, we ought to do a documentary. And I said, no, I'm not touching this one with a 10-foot pole. I don't know what this is, but it's a little weird. And I guess right after that, I ended up going to Vancouver. And I was doing something in Vancouver, and a bunch of really nice kids came up to me, 20 and 18, 20-year-old guys, and they said, could you sign my thing for My Little Pony? And in the beginning, I go, why are you watching this? What's the deal with this? Oh, well, it's really great stories, and it's about being kind and generous and honest, and blah blah blah, and it's really something like it. So that went on for a couple of weeks, and I began to recognize that, gee, that seems like the beginning of a fandom, which is not unlike, I was not at the beginning of Star Trek. I came in on the second round. And I had heard a great deal about the beginning of Star Trek fandom, which you have to understand is sort of one of the big mother loads of the geek culture, okay, for all of us. And so I thought, I think that I'm sort of at the beginning of something here. Then my friend, who still was thinking, this could make a documentary here, he called me up and he said, I'm sending you some links that I think you should see. This happened to have been 3 or 4 months before the presidential elections. And the way in which the media was behaving during the presidential elections, some media, was really outrageous as far as I was concerned. And he said, I want you to take a look at this. Fox News. I'm not a fan of Fox News. I believe that they've done more to pervert the truth in this country than most organizations that I know of. Bronies, the latest in the degradation of our society, are a bunch of homosexuals who live at home on food stamps and disability so that they can watch cartoons. And I called my friend and I said, we're going to do that documentary. And what was extraordinary about that is that I said, okay, great, yes, we're going to do it, but how are we going to pay for this? He said, well, let's try with Kickstarter. And we went on Kickstarter, neither of us really understanding what that was about, and we thought at the bare minimum, a room, I would go to a Brony convention, and there would be 2 cameras, and for $60,000 we would be able to, in fact, do a documentary. It might take us 6 weeks to 2 months to shoot and then edit. Well, we got $323 or 43, something like that, $1,000 from the community, who mostly were interested in, is this a documentary that I will be able to show my parents? And I expressed to the community this unknown community to us, but we had a sense that these were really good people. This documentary will be respectful, it will be insightful, and it will be entertaining. And there is the documentary, which you go on Netflix and take a look at.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, next.
I did
Oh, no,
actually-
you've had your question. Next person.
Okay.
Okay. We'll do it here while they, okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Hello.
First of all, thank you for all the joy you've brought to all of us, for everything you've done.
Can everybody hear him? No.
He brought us a lot of joy. Okay, two-part question, very simple. Huge Star Trek fan, thank you for Q. Question is, don't you think it's time for Q to meet the original crew of the Enterprise? And if so, would you do it if it was offered to you?
For me to meet the original Q, you mean
For
the
you to,
original?
now that they've regenerated the original crew of the Enterprise, don't you think Q should
Oh,
meet them?
I see what you're saying. Oh.
And
well,
would,
you know
and
what?
would you do it?
The
asked?
problem is this. I might have played an omnipotent being, but I was also playing an immortal being. Need I say more? So while it might be fun to do it as a voiceover, a disembodied voice, that type thing, I don't know if I think it would be rather shocking to the general public.
Okay.
What's your other question?
Would you do it if?
Oh,
if
well,
they
yeah,
asked
well,
you?
that gives you the answer to that. Okay. Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Lancie.
Hello.
I love Q, of course. And branching very nicely off of the last question, I'm a player of Star Trek Online, and one of the producers of that game is very interested in bringing as many people who have ever starred in Star Trek in any capacity into the game as much as possible. So I was wondering if you would ever be interested, not that I'm connected with the production staff at all, but you know, if you would ever be interested in going and reprising a role in a voiceover in the game, because then you don't have to be there physically, you can just be there as the voice.
Call my agent.
Oh, okay. I'll post on the forums.
Yes, yes.
I'm a Star Trek fan. Yeah, I'm a Star Trek fan. Oh, that's surprising.
No kidding.
Yeah. So, I was wondering, when you did play the part of Q many times, how much fun did you have just completely messing with everyone?
I think you had more fun than I did. Now, you know why? This is what it is that when you're shooting a television show, what you're trying to do is shoot, probably not, I use some of these questions to give you a general idea of things that you might not know in terms of shooting. If you were doing a soap opera, you would shoot 100 pages a day. Why? Because a soap opera is essentially talking heads, two people talking, blah, 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 and you've got two cameras that are running, you know, crisscross like that. You can get 100 pages a day. A television show, especially as television shows became more and more action-oriented, 8 pages, 9 at the most would be a really difficult day. A movie, 1 to 3 pages. But now let's go back to television show. Marina, who played, that's right. I heard her say once to me, she said, you know, you have more lines in one episode than I have in an entire year. So not being a good line learner and having to spit it out, usually at really a fast rate and, you know, really fun. And the thing is this, is that to look like you're having fun, you cannot have the lines in your head. And part of the character that I played had to include the fact that it looked like I had always a wink, in, you know, a little twinkle in the eye. So more often than not, while it was fun just in that little tiny moment of shooting, the rest of the time was, oh my God, I've got to go, you know, I've got to get my lines right, I've got to go like that. So the part that I wanted to give to you is that this was great fun. I'm not sure if it was great fun for me in the moment, but I wanted that to be part of the character and part of your experience in watching it, and I guess I was successful.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
I was lucky enough to stumble on a tape copy of Spock versus Q. You and Leonard Nimoy did it at a convention, I believe it was.
Right.
And highly entertained. It was a wonderful piece. And I'm just wondering, whose idea was that, and how did you get involved, and what was your experience like with that?
The idea of alien voices came about this way. I was directing a lot of shows for an outfit called LA Theater Works that have done more radio shows of plays than any other outfit in America. And and you could hear them on many NPR stations. They came to me, LA Theater Works came to me and said, you know, we want to boost the amount of people who listen to us and come to the show. What would you do, John? And I said, I would do some science fiction. And they were like, whoa, science fiction? And I said, no, you'll see. I think it'll be good. So they said, well, what would you do? And I said, well, how about War of the Worlds, which was the Orson Welles, War of the Worlds. Okay. And so we did it. Leonard played the lead guy, but I populated the rest of the cast with all of the Star Trek people. Well, they had, for the first time at the theater, lines around the block. They had never seen that before. After the show was over, I went to Leonard and I said, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy yourself? And he said, I had a great time. And I said, you know what? I had sort of an ulterior motive, and that is that I had this idea, and that is to create a company in which we would end up doing adaptations of classic science fiction. And how about if we call it Alien Voices? I'm an alien, you're an alien. Okay, so he thought this was a great idea. And that's how the company started. And we did the first Men in the Moon, the Time Machine, Lost World, Journey to the Center of the Earth. We did a bunch of them. And then Simon & Schuster came to us and said, could you do something that has, Spock and Q attached? And that's when we hired a writer, Cecilia Fanning, who's a playwright, and very clever. If you haven't heard it, it's no longer being sold, but I'm sure it's out there. It's a really clever, very funny script, and we did 2 of those, and that's how that came about. And no, we're not doing any more. Yes.
I did a lot of research with you because I'm writing a book called All You Need to Know About Disability is on Star Trek. And one of my favorite episodes is when Q is stripped of his Q powers. So he's basically a disabled Q. And that is in my book. And in watching that episode, I have to ask you this question. Is that you naked on the bridge?
You want to hear a story about that?
Sure.
That was the day before Thanksgiving, which meant that we were going to go all the way up until midnight. That was the same day that we did the mariachi band, for those of you who are really Star Trek fans, okay? And that mariachi band was done 10 minutes before midnight when they were going to pull the plug. So, and I knew starting at 6 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock when we got on the set that it was going to be a very long day. And I wanted to try to protect the lines that I had to do, as opposed to just, posing on for some gag, which I'm naked. Well, it did not start off well. They are putting body makeup on me, and the body makeup is smearing, and nobody can figure out why. Olive oil soap really works. But it ate up maybe about 45 minutes before anybody could figure it out. We don't know why this is not, they're going, we're ready for him at the set, we're ready for him at the set, and it's just not, it's just streaking. they sent me finally in with some dishwasher soap, or dish soap, into the showers when we went, oh my God, and I wash there. I come onto the set, and I have like a little jock strap, and there are two ladders, okay? And across the ladder is like a wooden plank. I get up there, and I'm laying like this, and they're shooting across me to the guys on the set. And, we're already late, and I'm concerned. So I get into position, and I wait, we're sort of talking. It's not really comfortable, but my little jock strap, and I'm like this, and they're taking, and I go, what's the problem? Oh, we're just having positioning problems with the camera and stuff like that. So I'm talking a little bit more, just chit-chatting, and finally I go, hey guys, what's the holdup? We're really having some problems with the indent of the jock strap and the stuff like that. I went, oh, Jesus. Okay, everybody who wants to stay. Everybody who wants to leave, because here it goes. Jumped back up, and let me tell you something. They shot that really fast.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now, watching Star Trek as a kid, I had a hard time differentiating between hating the character and the actor at the same time. So I loved every episode Q just popped up in. I would get on the edge of my seat and be like, how are they going to beat this guy this time? Gosh. What's your favorite episode, if you have one?
Oh, of favorite episode of Star Trek? Probably All Good Things.
Okay.
My favorite, do I need to repeat the questions, by the way, for the people in the back? No? Okay. I think that the last episode was, for me, the best because while I didn't have as much to do as I usually did in the other episodes, each scene was very specific, okay? And so if you are cutting the facets of a diamond, they were really good cuts, and I could cut two more really well. Oh, you want to hear a story about this one? In the last episode, and by the way, most people don't know this, but the last shot of the last All Good Things, but of the Next Generation, the last shot was on a dark and stormy night in I forget what studio we were in, but it was just Patrick and I. And we were in a sound stage, and the sound stages are actually a little bit taller than that, maybe about 5-6 feet taller than here. And they had built a platform which was quite high. I would say the platform was easily up to the right up to like this. And that gave them the opportunity of shooting like this, up, okay? So the cameras are down there and what have you. And it was the scene in which I bend down and I pick up the goo, okay? And I go, hey, this is you. Here you have it. So one of the things which was fun, this sort of answers the other person's question about having fun. Part of acting which makes it fun is to sort of have a secret. Just a little secret. It could be all sorts of things. And I have a story about that later on. But so this secret was this, is that we're doing the scene, and there's a guy on a ladder who is holding the bucket of goo. So we're doing the scene, and it really is the last episode. And Patrick has it up to here. He's just like, get me out of here. It's 11 o'clock at night. It's the last scene. A lot of complicated emotions for him. For me, it is in fact the last scene of a pretty long arc of which I've only been involved in 6 episodes. but clearly something that made a great deal of difference in my life. And as I'm going down here to pick it up, I'm also looking for something that's going to give me a little bit of a sparkle, a little smile. So Patrick is over here, the camera's shooting in this direction, there are two cameras, crisscrossing and what have you. And I pick up the goo, and I'm talking to him, but my little secret that none of you know, but I have a big smile on my face, and that's the reason I have a big smile, is that I'm moving the goo out like this because I can feel the goo hitting the guy in the face who's holding it there, and he's going. Okay, next. Are you next? Yeah.
I wanted to ask a question, and it pertains to something that happened, I believe, a little earlier this year, about a young boy named, I believe, Michael Moronis, and he was a young boy, huge My Little Pony fan, severely bullied at school, who attempted to take his life. Pinkie Pie was his favorite, and they were able to get in touch with Andrea Libman, and the article I read was that she then got in touch with the rest of the crew to do voiceovers so that they could play to him during his recovery. I wanted to know, were you a part of that, and if you felt comfortable sharing maybe what you said, if you can remember?
This is all news to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm aware that there was a young boy who was really bullied and he hung himself?
Yes.
Yes, but what the cast did, I really don't know. I'm just brought in, not unlike Q itself, I'm just sort of brought in just willy-nilly every once in a while, and I don't have that much connection as an actor in a cast of people. So I just didn't know about it, and I don't know about it until just now.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Hi, big fan of Q, one of my favorite characters in science fiction ever. I just wanted to know, as an actor, what did you do to try and make relatable such an alien being, something that is so far removed from humanity?
Yes, next. I don't really know how to answer that because I never thought of him as being unrelatable and so far away from humanity. I mean, one of the problems is that if you're playing a king, after you sort of walk around like this and make your cape do something different and what have you, there isn't much else to do. So. And people have heard me say this before. I play an omnipotent being who's too stupid to know it. I play somebody, a god with clay feet. So that's really where my focus went. I didn't immediately go to the notion of it being, oh my gosh, this is so far away from me. What can I do to bring it close to home? If you are told, if the audience is told already that you're a doctor or a god or a king or any of those things, they just accept that. Now they actually want to see what you do. So that's really where my intentions were. And they were then very clear intentions, to convince them to do something, to make them, upset, to humiliate, to do essentially all the things that human beings do. So that's how I approach it. And I think most actors would do the same. Yes?
Hi, so as a master of mischief and fun yourself, what's the greatest prank you've ever pulled on a cast member, and what's the greatest prank ever pulled on you?
Oh, I'm terrible at those questions. The stuff that has to do with Star Trek, I just had too much to do. I just had too much to do. So I don't really have any of those pranks. And God help them if they pulled a prank on me. Yes? Oh, I love your outfit.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Who's your favorite My Little Pony character and why? Tell me the pony's name so I really understand the pony.
Why don't you come over here? Both of you. Yeah.
Go ahead. Leave this.
Come on over here.
You have to go.
Yeah. Because I'm not sure whether everybody can see you properly. Come on over here. Let me have your hand. Okay. Now, why don't you ask me the question again?
Who's your favorite My Little Pony character and why? Tell me the pony's name so I really understand the pony.
I don't want to upset you, but Discord is my favorite character. And I'm not sure who all the other ponies are, because I don't have somebody like you reminding me. Do you have a question? What's your question? What's your question?
Why? What did he say?
Yeah, come over here. Why what? Turn a little this way.
Can you tell me which pony you like?
Okay, I can see you're not going to let me off the hook. I think maybe Fluttershy. Yeah? Okay? Is that good? All right. I can just see, if I'm lucky enough to work for Spielberg, when they grow up and they see me come out on stage or something, they're going to go, "It's Discord." Okay, next. Yes.
Well, that is an incredibly difficult and intimidating act to follow.
It is. Are you going to ask to come up here now?
No. And my apologies to fandom, but I'm actually curious about your sailing trip because my longtime partner is a sailor. He sails a 45-foot trimaran that he built. And I'm curious about your trip. Had you always wanted to do it? Had you ever done such a trip before? And what inspired you to do it? What was like the most exciting and the most scary thing that happened? No. And did you single-handed, did you have a crew?
And was Fluttershy there as well?
Guiding your journey.
I had always wanted to do it since I was a little boy. I had three other people, 2 younger people who were friends of my son's, and then somebody I went to school with. And we went to the Marquesas, which was 26 days to get there. And then we went and visited all of the Marquesas, all the islands, and then we went down to the Tuamotus and then into the Society Islands. And and what else?
What was the most exciting or scary thing that happened during the trip?
Oh, you know what? It's too long an answer. And it's true, these people haven't come from that. But there was some information. Okay,
Thank
next.
you.
Back to Discord, it seems like Discord and Q are very, very similar, just in different universes. So was that deliberate from the writers, or is that something that you did, or what's the story?
Well, you know what, that's an interesting question, because when I saw it, I did not think Q. You have to understand, it isn't like I go around trying to, imprint all the characters that I play with Q, Although, when I did Breaking Bad, I did come in that that outfit. Right. And they said, no. So I really didn't think of it that way. I knew, put that down. I knew that, that he was a trickster and a this and a that and what have you, but I didn't make the connection. It was only when I met Lauren Faust who actually said to me, "We hired you because you played Q." Like, oh, that I saw that there was a true connection that they wanted. So, so there you have it.
Well, I thought it was a fantastic performance, so thank you.
Okay. Did you like my song?
Yes.
I like to say that up until then, that I was, you know, that I didn't sing. I don't sing, and that I'm actually, I'm paid not to sing. But that was my first song, so I was really happy about it. Oh my gosh, yes.
In My Little Pony, this season 4, the episode, I believe it's called "Three's a Crowd" or something like that. Was it difficult to sing the song, "The Little Glass of Water"?
A Little Glass of Water?
Yeah.
Yes, it was really difficult because I am not a singer, and I don't know how to carry a tune, and I had to be sort of taught by my wife, who was holding her nose most of the time, who is a singer, to actually, you know, you have to stay on the beat. You have to stay on the rhythm here. You just can't go off like that. So that it was tough. And the first time that we did it, what I did is that I went into the studio and I did an entire show, which is really a lot of energy. I'm not with anybody else. I'm just by myself doing a show by myself, okay? So it's a lot of really sweaty finished, and then we started the song. So it was just a lot of energy attached to that. Okay. What? That's 5. 5 minutes. Okay. Okay. I thought he was asking me if what, like. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Janeway and Q, thoughts?
Very brief, huh? Sort
like
of, kind of coded.
I don't like being in front of people. I'm sorry.
Well, what, would you like to come up here?
No.
No. Janeway and Q, thoughts. I think that the reason that the relationship, as it were, between Q and Picard worked so well is because it was sort of like two A-type guys who were vying for position, okay? The 800-pound gorilla in the room with Janeway and Q was that they were so concerned that Janeway would somehow become infatuated with Q that it would color all of it. And I kept on saying, well, why don't we use that? You know, there's nothing better than to have, you know, they're getting closer and closer and closer and closer, and the audience is like, oh, and then you turn off and you're off to someplace else, and then you can continue to play that back and forth, and it creates tension, and it gives sort of something fun. They really put their thumbs down from what Kate was telling me about. You cannot in any way show that you have any sort of feelings for this guy. And it resulted, as far as I was concerned, in taking away one of the big colors, as it, you know, off the palette. You know, a big color was taken off of the palette, so they're not, that relationship was not quite as complex as it could have been. Yes?
Hello, I'm a very passionate Trekkie and I love Q, well, it's rather obvious I'm a Trekkie, but my question is, what is the funniest backstage story you have from all your years of acting?
Oh, God. I'll tell you a funny story. Well, you will be the judge of whether you think it's a funny story. And I think with children in the audience, it's still okay. How many of you saw the Thornbirds? Any of you know the Thornbirds? Well, remember I said to you about a secret? The importance of a secret. Okay. There is in the Thornbirds, Rachel Ward, I think her name is, beautiful, beautiful, the most beautiful of all women, what have you, is walking down. It's sort of like, I don't know, Gone with the Wind in Australia type of stuff. That's what the show is. And she's coming down this enormously beautiful staircase, and down below are all of these suitors. And I'm the suitor that her parents want her to go with. She doesn't, but I'm the one that they want her to go with. And as I'm reading it to get ready for the next day's shooting for this big scene, and she's in a beautiful ball ground, and I'm in a tux and what have you, and it's all, 1890 or whatever it is. It says, she looks down and sees all the suitors, and then whatever my name was, Alex. Alex looks up, and he is smitten with love. And I went, oh, Christ. Smitten with love. I mean, how am I going to play smitten with love? What does that mean? Actors hate that type of thing because it's a look, and you kind of go like, oh my gosh, what is that going to? So in any case, they're shooting her part. Cameras down below, we're looking up, and they have spent most of the day getting her ready, and she comes down, and she is radiant, and they're shooting. And I am dreading the fact that sooner or later here, they're going to come to me and say, as they did, okay, John, we got that shot, and now we're turning on to you. Oh my God. Oh my God. What am I going to do? Smitten with love. Smitten with love. Oh my God, what is that? Am I going to be like, huh? No, that doesn't work. And no, that doesn't work. So, and I'm outside, and I'm walking around, and it's maybe at least 45 minutes, which is even worse. And I've got my hand in my pocket, and I'm going, oh, well, I don't know, what am I going to do? What am I going? And they say, John, we're ready. And I went, oh God. I went, oh, a secret. I need a secret. And I pulled out and I tore open my pocket. And now, they say, action. And my hand wandered over. And I looked up. And I was smitten with love. No one knew. And a couple of the movie came out and what have you, and I'm in an office auditioning, and the guy goes, oh, hey, I saw you on the Thornbirds. Yeah, you were great. Oh, God, that look that you gave her. All right, I keep on being told, I get more or less? You want me to, what's that mean? That's it? Okay, we're going to play a game. One more question, and if it's the question you want me to answer, you go, yeah. And if it's a question you don't want me to answer, you boo the person off the stage. So, who wants to go first? Oh, it's you.
Very simple, straightforward question. Will you by chance be attending Everfree Northwest in July?
Actually, I'll be sailing then. Oh, I'll give you another chance. It was on. Okay. Okay, yes.
Hello, welcome to the Emerald City. Question. The Q character, when you first started in Next Generation, he was very rigid, but by the end, through DS9 and Voyager, he was much more playful. Was the evolution of that character your idea?
Oh, good. I thought your head was going to go off on that one, but
I am very nervous.
Okay. When I first started, they wanted Corey Allen wanted him very straight, very straight on, and I don't tend to play that. And I kept on saying, there are opportunities there. No. And I thought that would be the end of it. But they brought me a second time. And once they brought me in a second time, and I'm not under, and it's not a pilot, and we're sort of moving, I began to move into sort of to fracture the role a little bit so that there's a sense of amusement and whimsy as well as being dangerous. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.